Welcome back to Sparked in the Quiet. This is our space to slow down, to breathe, and to reflect on life and faith without rushing. If you're listening while resting or during a quiet moment in your day, I'm really glad you're here. Today we're spending time with a passage from the book of Matthew, a verse that sits inside a scene filled with real people, real pain, and real compassion. And as we walk through it together, I want you to hear it not as a distant story, but as something that still speaks gently into our lives right now. Let's take our time as we enter into it. Matthew 8, verse 17 says, "This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases." Let's take our time and sit with that. In Matthew 8, this verse doesn't appear in isolation. It comes right after a long, full day in Capernaum, where Jesus had been healing person after person who came to him. Peter's mother-in-law had been sick with a fever, and Jesus gently touched her hand, and the fever left. Then as evening came, crowds began gathering at the door. People with sickness, pain, spiritual oppression, fear, and desperation. And Jesus didn't send them away. He stayed. He listened. He touched. He restored. Matthew pauses in that moment and says, This right here is the fulfillment of what Isaiah spoke about long ago. Not just a prophecy about power, but a picture of compassion. Jesus didn't step into people's pain as a distant observer. He entered into the weight of it. He carried the strain, the brokenness, the fragility of human suffering, and he did it willingly. That's the heart of this verse. And when we slow down with it, it speaks into the places where life today still feels tender and exhausting. Because even now, pain doesn't always come in dramatic scenes. Sometimes it looks like a body that tires more quickly than it used to. A long-standing health struggle that stretches across months. A quiet emotional weight that lives beneath everyday responsibilities. Matthew shows us that Jesus noticed those kinds of burdens, the ones that shape daily living, and he drew near to them. He didn't lecture the sick. He didn't shame those who were struggling. He didn't measure who was worthy. He came close and lifted what they could not. And maybe your season right now feels a little like those people who gathered at the door at sunset. Still functioning, still showing up, but carrying something that has been wearing on you for a while. A tiredness that doesn't fade quickly. A lingering ache in the body or the heart. A prayer that's been prayed more than once. Matthew reminds us that when Jesus carries our infirmities, it isn't just about miracles in a single moment. It is about his willingness to step into the full reality of human weakness and suffering. He bears the weight of it with us. Some healings in Scripture were immediate. Some unfolded slowly. Some were part of a lifelong journey of faith. But in every one of them, Jesus was present. Compassionate, intentional, near. And that presence alone can be deeply strengthening. Take a breath here. Let your thoughts settle for a moment. Think about the places in your life right now where you feel stretched, whether in your body, your emotions, or your spirit. The parts of your story that feel fragile, or tender, or quietly exhausting. You don't have to push them aside right now. Just acknowledge them. Hold them gently in front of God. Matthew shows us that Jesus didn't pull back from the sick. He leaned toward them. He met them in the middle of what they were going through, not after they recovered, not when they were stronger, not when they had figured everything out. He met them right there. And today, he still does. He carries the weight of seasons that feel long. He carries the ache of waiting for answers. He carries the limitations we wish we didn't have. He carries the quiet, unseen struggles that only he fully understands. And even when healing, in whatever form it comes, takes time, his care does not fade. His compassion does not weaken. His faithfulness does not slip. The same Jesus who healed in Capernaum is the one who walks beside you now. Not only as the one who can heal, but as the one who bears the reality of your suffering with tenderness and dignity. You are not an interruption. You are never an obligation. You are someone he cares for so deeply. So as we rest with this verse a little longer, let your shoulders loosen. Let your breathing slow. Let your heart lean gently into his presence. Matthew 8, verse 17 reminds us that our pain, physical, emotional, spiritual, is not carried alone. It rests in the hands of Christ, who steps beneath the weight of it all. And as you go forward from here, may you move gently. May you give yourself grace in the process. And may you remember that nothing you face it alone. Let this spark carry you. One step, one moment, one breath at a time.